From the spirits of former owners to the tales of slaves who perished and now haunt the Underground Railroad, this house has seen many things, adding to the mystery and horror now trapped inside. Welcome back, dissectors, to another haunted location. Today we are delving into the dark history and paranormal tales from Hannah House in Indiana. Nowadays, this property appears to be trapped in time as the surrounding buildings and businesses scream the 21st century. But don't let its aged appearance fool you, as all it goes to prove is that Hannah House has a mysterious past, drenched in tragedy and local lore of spirits that still linger there. Alexander Hannah was born in 1821 in southern Indiana. Even though his family had a successful business in the area, young Alexander wanted to pursue his own dreams, leaving for California in 1850 with hopes of striking it rich in the California gold rush. Maybe things didn't go quite as planned for Alexander, but he still managed to make a success of himself while running a ranch and prospecting. When he returned to Indiana, he was a changed man, more confident but also much wealthier, buying himself a 240-acre plot of land with the idea of building a mansion to show how well he'd done for himself, naming it Hannah House. This new building was now bringing Alexander even more wealth as he grew a variety of crops on his land, while also charging tolls from the Indianapolis-Southport Road, which crossed his property. But in time, Alexander discovered that he was not truly happy, and it turned out the reason for this was loneliness. So in 1872, he took the plunge and married a lady called Elizabeth Jackson, and in this same year decided to expand his property to include a servant's quarters at the back, as well as a summer kitchen, smokehouse and milk storage room. Sadly, things didn't go smoothly for the couple, as no matter how hard they tried to have a family, the heartbreak was all they received. Elizabeth only managed to take one pregnancy to term, and the baby was stillborn, a tragedy that the couple never recovered from. Even though there was never the joy of children playing, laughing or running around the large property, the home was always active. They'd also built up a positive reputation within the community too. Alexander was well known for his dislike of the use of slaves and the way that they were treated by many. Now, there are no historical records to prove this, but many locals believe it to be true, and to be fair, the likelihood of finding these kinds of records would be hard, as he wouldn't have advertised it. The story goes that one group of slaves was taking refuge in the Underground Railroad or cellar of the property, when one night in 1860, one member of the group accidentally knocked over an oil lamp, setting the place ablaze. By the time the fire had been put out, several of the runaways had perished. Not wanting to draw attention to the help that he'd been trying to give, Alexander couldn't report the incident as it would reveal the Underground Railroad, so instead he made the difficult decision to bury their bodies in the cellar of his home. Again, this is just what legend says, and there is no historic evidence. But evidence or not, there is plenty of paranormal evidence indicating this story to be true. You see, very early on, visitors to one of the upstairs bedrooms would often complain about a sudden stench that would envelop the room, a smell of death, which would then just as quickly disappear, replaced by the scent of flowers. Anyone venturing down to the old cellar reports a burning or burnt flesh smell, leading many to believe it's the spirits of the dead slaves making themselves known to the living. Further evidence of their story being true is the dark shadow figures seen around the cellar and other areas of the house, huddled up in corners like they're trying to evade captors. Elizabeth died in 1888, with Alexander joining her in 1895. And with no heirs to take over the property, it sat empty for 4 years. Then a local jeweller named Roman Euler decided to purchase the Hannah House, living there with his family until he died. Over the years he owned the property, the land decreased in size to just over 20 acres, with the family building new buildings and replacing the front porch. When Roman died, he left the property to his beloved daughter, Romina, until 1962, when she left with her husband, leaving the once cherished home empty for many years. From then it was used as an antique store for about 10 years and was then added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1978. Every Halloween for many years, the home was used as a haunted house attraction until the early 2010s. But this seems to be around the time that stories of Hannah House truly being haunted began to surface, and haunted tours became its new attraction. The ghost of Alexander Hannah has been seen in many areas of his beloved home, dressed smartly in a suit, taking in the views before him. But the spirit of his lovely wife Elizabeth has been witnessed by many too, and hers doesn't seem quite so at peace. You see, people have seen her looking out of the windows of the house while cradling her lost baby in her arms, a sad look of longing on her face. And if the heartbreaking sight of Elizabeth isn't enough to chill you to the bone, many guests have also experienced other activity in the Hannah house. Some so scary they say that local law just doesn't sum it up enough. You see, there are cold spots throughout the home which will suddenly disappear, only to reappear somewhere else completely. Almost like a spirit is moving around, you might say. Doors will swing open suddenly in front of you or slam shut, like they're trying to keep you away. But the most disturbing paranormal occurrence is the disembodied voices that echo along the corridors of Hannah House. People have said they can be muffled, like they're in the distance, to moans of pain and sobbing. These sounds have apparently been picked up by visitors to the home on EVP. In my opinion, there does seem to be a lot of evidence that the death of the slaves by burning is true. You have the shadows huddled in corners, the smell of burning flesh, as well as the muffled voices, as maybe they are coming from the cellar or underground railroad. It breaks my heart that poor Elizabeth has not found peace in death and still holds on to the heartbreak of losing her baby. But what other spirits haunt this house? As many believe, not all identities of the ghosts locked up inside here are known. I guess that just adds to the mystery of Hannah House though. It may not be a haunted house attraction for Halloween anymore, but it certainly is a home with plenty of ghost stories attached to it. What is the story that interested you the most in today's haunted location? Did it make you feel sad for the spirit left behind, or angry about what they had to endure while they were alive? Let me know in the comments below. Well, my friends, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. The weather is getting pretty hot outside for many of us, so remember to take care and keep cool. But if things get too hot, why not check out another one of our episodes, as they're certain to give you a chill or two. Until next time, my friends, stay safe out there.